Hi Year 12, welcome back. This is just a short video to run you through your very first syllabus point on the core topic, cities of Vesuvius. The first dot point is about the geography and the natural features of the region of Campania. So you've got a Google Doc with this set of Cornell notes, so I'm just going to run through that with you. So the area which we're dealing with is called the Campanian region. So on your map, you can see the two towns we're studying. Pompeii is here and Herculaneum here. Now they're separate towns to one another. They are a part of the Empire of Rome, so they're Roman towns, but they are individual to one another, and they lie in the region which we call Campania. Now that's an important key term you should put in your glossary. The best example I can give you is, even though we live in Glendale, you would say that we're a part of the Hunter region. So even though someone might live in Pompeii, they might say that they live a part of the Campania region. So that's really important. There are lots of other towns in the region of Campania, but we're only studying these two because they're the two that have been discovered after the eruption, and they're the two that have been excavated. The other ones that didn't get covered, like the ones further over here, like Mycenaeum and Cumae, they weren't actually covered. They continued about their lives, and they've changed and developed over time. The other ones, which are closer, like Oplontis and Oscarale, were covered, but they have not yet been dug up. There's modern cities over the top of them, and they haven't been able to excavate. So these are the two towns which are fully excavated since the eruption and are almost like frozen in time. So the other important feature is the volcano Vesuvius. So you can see the volcano here. It dominates the landscape. It is large. From any one of these towns on the map, you would see Vesuvius in the background. So the volcano Mount Vesuvius is the main feature of the region. And we're in southern Italy. So Rome's further north. This is further south. And the modern town of Naples is pretty much what dominates this region now. So if you went to Naples today, you could see Vesuvius. You would be able to visit the two towns of Pompeii and Herculaneum. And they're a part of this lovely bay, which we call the Bay of Naples. So they're coastal towns. They're right on the coast. You've got lovely views of bay this way. You can see the mountain behind you in the two towns. It's quite a nice place to be. Because of the volcano, it actually has a lot of rich volcanic soil, which is a key feature of the geography. It's also one of the reasons why the region is called Campania Felix, which means lucky Campania. Felix is actually the Latin word for luck. And if you're a Harry Potter fan, you might remember in the Half-Blood Prince, they're mixing that potion called Felix Felicis. And that potion gives them luck. If you drink it, you get luck. So that's a way you might remember it. Felix means luck, so lucky Campania, because they've got a lot of great benefits from this volcano. It is a bit ironic because the volcano destroyed them in the end, but nevertheless, people thought that it was one of the loveliest places on earth. And one of the reasons is this ability to grow crops all year round, and that's because of the soil. So Herculaneum is closer to the volcano, and it's directly on the coastline of the Bay of Naples. It's quite elevated on the coast, steep cliffs, so it's got beautiful views, cool breezes, and it's an ideal location for resort villas. Most of the town of Herculaneum was resort or holiday homes for the rich, wealthy Romans, so it's a bit smaller. Whereas Pompeii, over here on the eastern side of the volcano, is a bustling town. It's got a diverse economy and population, and it is a fully functioning city. Both of them have benefits from the volcano and the bay, but Pompeii's also got the River Sarno. So we can see the River Sano here? It's this squiggly line that runs right through the middle of the city, and it gives them an excellent freshwater source. Now, these two towns were lucky because, being a part of the Roman Empire, they had advanced aqueduct water supplies. So you didn't need to be on a river, but having it there is also an added benefit for your soils. Both of them benefit from this volcanic material. Now, it's rich in the two elements of phosphorus and potash, which are great for growing a whole heap of plants, and also the soil from the volcano is spongy, which means that even when it's really, really hot in summer, the spongy soil will retain that moisture and water from when it has rained in winter, and it will allow crops to grow even when it's really hot. So apparently, any time of the year in Campania, you could grow crops, which made it an excellent place to live. Very prosperous. If you're a farmer, if you have a vineyard, if you have an orchard, your business would be booming. So for that reason, it's lucky. Grapes are one of their big crops. They're famous for their wine. And Pliny, who was a man living at the time and also an eyewitness to the volcanic eruption, he said that the vines never stop growing. So it's always a great place to be. Now, the coastline also faces the Tyrrhenian Sea. So that's the larger waterway out from the bay, protected bay, and then the Tyrrhenian Sea. So you might want to highlight that on your map as well. They both had harbours from this nice bay, and they had great trade systems, particularly Pompeii, imports and exports, and it accommodated a range of different traffic. So things were always coming in and out. Strabo, a geographer at the time, told us that. Because they're on the bay, they also have a thriving fishing industry as well. We'll take a look at that in a minute. So the combination of having this temperate climate, mountainous background, magnificent panoramas, fertile soil, and brilliant sunshine made it a famous attraction for wealthy Romans. It's a lovely place to live. So very popular amongst those rich, elite Romans. Okay. Let's have a look at the natural features in a bit more detail. You'll need to fill in this section here. I've done the evidence for you, but you'll need to add some dot points here about each of the industries, and you can do that using the information. Just get it up. In your Word doc, which is from the textbook, and it goes through each of the areas for you here. Okay, so olive oil production is probably one of the biggest industries, along with wine. The oil presses that we've found in villas in Herculaneum and on the fields of Vesuvius are our main evidence that they pressed olives and made oil. So we've found that evidence when we've dug up the towns. Apparently the whole region is also famous for making perfume. So olive oil is the basic ingredient of perfume, and then because they could grow all those beautiful flowers all year round, they would flavour the olive oil with the perfume of the flowers and create perfume. So Florus was a man living at the time, and he told us that spring comes with its flowers twice a year. So what he means by that is spring isn't just one season, it comes twice. So even in the middle of autumn or winter, the flowers are out. So that means they can produce these lovely perfumes and olive oils. Wine is another big industry. Apparently, Campania was famous for its wine, which it's exported to Rome and other parts of the world at the time, like France, Spain, and North Africa. But apparently the wine was particularly potent, meaning that it's quite strong rather than flavourful. and Pliny, the man living at the time, told us that it was dangerous because it could cause a headache which lasts till noon the following day. So basically it's quite strong, and that's why it was well known, a specialty product, I guess. And we've found lots of different evidence for wine production. We've got wine presses. There's one here in this source. So that's a grape press. We've got actual villas that are, we found the archaeological organic remains of the vineyards themselves, the wines. And there's been a few projects where people have actually studied the roots that have been perfectly preserved, and they've been able to replant grape varieties that were grown at the time. So it's pretty amazing what they can do now. Obviously, fruit and veggies can grow on this lovely volcanic fertile soil as well. I'll let you read that one. Fishing industry. The only other thing I wanted to mention about the fishing industry is their specialty product, which we call garum. Now, garum to me sounds disgusting, but apparently it's a real delicacy in the ancient world, and Pompeii was famous for garum. Basically, it's a fermented fish sauce. So they leave all the guts and bits of the fish to ferment, and then they produce this sauce. So that is a really famous product from the region, and it would be a good one to mention because it makes it's unique to the area. So we also have fish tanks in different homes, the marketplace in Pompeii. We found fish scales in the drain, so we know that they had a fishing industry and that people sold and bought fish. Only other one is woolen textiles. So sheep were bred in the area. Obviously, having lots of grass and a beautiful climate makes it good for livestock. So we had a lot of wool, and textile production's big in the area too, with the evidence of this building of Umertia in the Forum. So this is meant to be the headquarters of the fullers. And fullers are basically people who worked in laundries. So they would dye, wash, produce textiles. They might have even sold them there. So because their building dominates the main part of town, that tells us that it was a really big industry. So these points you would need to summarize and put in your table. You've already got your evidence here. I made this set of Cornell notes for you as kind of like a model for what you should be doing for each dot point, really. So they have to have enough detail. They should have lots of key terms. You could include your evidence throughout it as well. Now there's quotes throughout them. I just wanted to start by showing you a good set of notes for this first dot point, so you've got a bit of a benchmark for the way forward. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any other questions, you can feel free to